to our next presenter, who is Stephanie Orphan. And Stephanie is the program director of arXiv. And as I'm sure you are all aware, arXiv is the largest preprint repository in the fields of physics, math, and computer science. It was established by Paul Ginsberg, I think in 1991 at Los Alamos National Laboratory. And Stephanie is going to talk about arXiv Labs, which is a mechanism for bringing suggestions for new functionalities and services for archives. So I'm really looking forward to hearing Stephanie's presentation, and I'll turn the floor over to you, Stephanie.
Hello, everybody. Thank you, Kathleen and Cor, for having me here today, and to all of you for attending both in person and virtually. I hope you find my presentation interesting and learn something new that you didn't know before, and I hope that everything continues to go off without a hitch with the technology setup. Oh, already I'm having an issue. I can't forward my slide. Okay, one moment. But now, are you still seeing my full screen or no?
I see the PowerPoint.
Yeah, we're seeing the PowerPoint.
Yeah, I'm having trouble when it's on full screen. I can't forward the slides.
Stephanie, can you do share screen and then do go into advanced mode, and you can share a portion of your screen?
Let me try that. So I'm already sharing this. So unshare the screen first. Okay.
It doesn't look too bad for us if you just want to leave them like that.
Yeah, I apologize. I have tested this numerous times.
Just leave them like that. That's fine.
Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah, it looks fine.
I apologize. Okay, I'm going to stop. Oh, and I still can't move it forward, but I guess I can click. So there we go. Thank you all for your patience. So I wanted to start by providing just a high-level overview of arXiv. I know many, if not all of you, are already fairly familiar with what we do. So I'm going to try to keep this part brief. At its core, arXiv is an open curated research sharing platform that has been in operation for over 30 years. As Kathleen mentioned, it was started by Paul Ginsberg at Los Alamos National Labs in 1991. And then when he moved over to Cornell University in 2001, arXiv came with him. arXiv started as a mechanism for sharing preprints in physics, but over the years it has expanded into other categories. We operate in 8 large sections, and most of those have smaller subsections. So there's a large number of categories that we're operating in now. For many years, arXiv was housed at Cornell at the University Library. In around 2019, it moved over to the Computer Science Department, and then from there on to Cornell Tech, which is the graduate campus in New York City, which is the current home to arXiv. So, what does arXiv offer? arXiv currently has over 2.2 million downloadable articles in 8 academic fields. These are available anywhere that there is an internet connection, and it is free to access. And there's, of course, no fee to deposit your paper in arXiv. arXiv offers researchers the opportunity to share original research quickly, either before or after publication. We usually refer to ourselves as a e-print server, not just a preprint server, because we have so much post-publication peer-reviewed content in arXiv. arXiv is also a secure permanent archive for this published and unpublished content. Other than a legal reason that we would have to remove something, we don't take anything out of arXiv. Even most withdrawals remain in arXiv, even if they're not accessible to end users to read. We also offer a future pathway to fulfilling the burgeoning number of OA mandates. arXiv has been able to keep doing what it's doing, even in the face of dramatic growth due to contributions and efforts from the global research community. In addition to the many authors and readers who rely on arXiv and therefore kind of give us a reason to have to exist, we're also relying on more than 200 moderators who every day are working to make sure that papers make it through the system and onto the platform. We also have advisory boards and collaborators that help us with policy setting and deciding new directions and things of that nature. And as Kathleen mentioned, financial stability is, of course, necessary to succeed. We are very grateful to our major funder, the Simons Foundation and Cornell University, in addition to the many organizations and individuals that make financial contributions to arXiv. If you happen to be here and you're from an arXiv member institution, I cannot thank you enough for supporting arXiv in that manner. If you're not from a member institution and you'd like to hear more about it, you can email me privately or send an email to membership@arxiv.org. I also wanted to mention that arXiv was chosen in the third funding cycle by SCOS as an infrastructure that they are helping to fundraise. And that has allowed us to, in particular, expand our membership through consortia in Europe. Just a few numbers to throw at you. These are primarily end of year 2022 numbers. At that point, we had over 2.6 billion total downloads over the life of arXiv. We have over 5 million monthly active users. In an average month, we have 15,500 submissions, but you'll see at the bottom, there are occasionally these real months that really bump up. We just recently surpassed our previous most submissions in a month ever in March 2023, when we had over 18,000 submissions to arXiv. And you'll see in that last number, our staff is fairly small, and they managed to keep things moving along, even during these spike periods. And as the landscape changes and we move into other areas, they are definitely a small but mighty and adaptable team. So moving on, I want to talk a little bit about interoperability. arXiv has been sharing critical data in the sciences with NASA, CERN, and other organizations for decades. But as technologies evolve, it's increasingly important for systems to be truly interoperable. As Jessica touched on, researchers are increasingly expecting open collaborative systems and can benefit from things like open peer review layers and cross-platform networks, as well as a host of other things that could be introduced. And so arXiv Labs is what we are currently using as our interoperability portal. For us, it's a good framework for achieving researchers' goals for interoperability. It helps us realize our vision by increasing our opportunities to collaborate with partners in academia and beyond academia. And we can bring exciting innovations to the arXiv community. And we hope this also helps us to strengthen our existing and build on new community ties. So we currently have been working with 13 partners across 4 areas, which are related papers and recommenders, bibliography and citations, code, data, and media, and related demos. And these integration partners are from around the globe, so we're very happy about that. And just to give you a little bit of the history of how things got started, and then I'll go into a few of the more recent things. Before there was arXiv Labs, we worked with Papers with Code on an integration to link arXiv articles with their associated codes. It was launched in 2020 and was really sort of like the birth of the arXiv Labs program, even though we weren't calling it Labs at that point. It was initially limited to machine learning articles, but now this is expanded to all arXiv categories. So basically the way it works, if available, author's implementation of the code will be displayed, as well as links to any community implementations. This occurs on the arXiv abstract page, and in a moment, I will show an example of how we're currently handling that. Towards the end of 2022, we ended up releasing a number of other labs projects. I'm not going to go over all 13 of the things, but I've got a few to highlight here. So Hugging Face integration was one that made a bit of a splash when we came out with it late in 2022. This provides access to community and author created code demos on the arXiv abstract pages. So if you go to the demos tab of your favorite paper on arXiv, you can find links to open source demos and try them out immediately. This is available in some, but not all of the arXiv categories, and it was built using open source tools. Here's a quote from an excited end user: "This absolutely rules." They were going to go out and buy even more arXiv merch to celebrate that. So that's nice to hear when these endeavors actually seem to have an impact on the communities that you serve. So I just wanted to take a moment to show how we're implementing arXiv Labs now. So this is showing Hugging Face. So this is an arXiv abstract for the article "Attention is All You Need." You can see here that there's a tab for each of those 4 areas that I mentioned earlier. And if you're in the demos tab and you click on Hugging Face, and there are related demos at Hugging Face to this paper, it will display them. So what's over here on the right is just what wouldn't appear below the fold. So you can see there's a number of demos on Hugging Face related to this particular paper, and from this page you can click right into them. All but one of the arXiv Labs projects currently works in this manner. We are aware that even as Labs has grown over the last 6 to 9 months, with 13 now, that this kind of a situation can become unwieldy very quickly. We have a near-term plan to change it so that our system is going out to look and determine which of these integrations actually have something to show for a particular paper, so that only active integrations will appear on the page for the user. I think down the road, we'll probably end up having to do more than that, but I think for the short term, that will solve some of our problems. We're also having conversations about what it means to perhaps deaccession something, or when do you remove something if it turned out to not have any actual integrations with arXiv, or very few, or if the thing itself is not growing. So these are all conversations that we're currently having, but right now we're just more focused on having conversations with people that are interested in doing more integrations. Another example of a recent arXiv Labs integration is iArchive. This is AI customized arXiv email notifications. These are opt-in email alerts in some of the arXiv categories, not all. So again, these would be found in the tab under related papers on an abstract page, or you can also go directly to iArchive and sign up for them. iArchive is using machine learning, and so they're learning from readers' preferences and updating them over time based on papers that readers engage with. They were very enthusiastic and motivated about integrating iArchive into arXiv, as were we. So we're very, again, happy to have this kind of partnership. ScienceCast is one of the newer integrations, one of the integrations that is with a newer, I don't want to say product, but I'm at lack of a word. So we're still waiting to see how much uptake there will be of this, but it's a great idea. It links arXiv papers to interactive video presentations, so users can upload their scientific research as a traditional presentation or a video summary, exchange ideas, and again, you can find direct links to that in the appropriate arXiv abstract pages if you click into the tab. And again, just a quote from a data scientist who saw our announcement about this integration and was pretty happy about it. Replicate runs machine learning models in the cloud. They share a running machine learning model that will appear with any paper on arXiv. Anyone can run your model in their web browser. We had worked with the folks from Replicate in the past on a different project, and they came back to us about this integration. And so it was nice to keep that relationship going and have another opportunity to work with that group. I want to finish up talking about R5. We've been working with R5 for a couple of years. And the work with them is kind of tied now to some broader work on accessibility that arXiv is doing. R5 converts arXiv articles to responsive HTML5. All you need to do is replace the X or XC with the 5 and any arXiv article link, and it will provide the HTML alternative. We are really committed to accessibility and trying to do what we can to move the needle forward for accessible research output. And we feel strongly that HTML is the way to do that. And because we take the vast majority of arXiv articles are submitted with the text source file, that makes it possible for us to do this HTML conversion in a bigger way. So last year you may have seen some notifications that arXiv had done a bunch of accessibility research, and we put out a paper on accessibility that you can find in arXiv. And just recently we had a half-day accessibility forum that gathered all sorts of stakeholders to discuss what the issues are for end users that need accessibility solutions, and what arXiv and other platforms have been doing, can be doing to solve the problems. And we look forward to continuing to work on these issues. I just wanted to show you what R5 looks like when integrated into, when you use it. So the top item is just the regular arXiv URL, and that's our standard abstract page. And over on the right-hand side is a little bit small right now, I think, but your option is to go to the PDF, and other formats really allows you to download the submission package, which is tech and all of that. There is not an HTML rendition. But if you replace the X or C with 5, you were presented with this much more readable text-based version of the article. So we look forward to our continuing work with R5 that's kind of moving beyond labs and into something that we plan to integrate fully into the platform in the future. So I'm going to leave you with a quote from one of our advisors, Sumati Surya, who's a professor at Raman Institute. And I've lost the last part of her institution name here. And of course, I can't remember off the top of my head, but this resonates with me very much. We can all have a voice and a stake in arXiv. And so I invite all of you to join us and to share your ideas with us. Thank you very much.